On dryland development, I think are very clear. We would like to see in the shortest possible time the whole of the arable and non-arable extent in Karnataka covered with watershed management technology. The main objective of the technology is to see that soil and water management is optimized, that water does not carry away topsoil and does not leave the soil where it first lands too quickly, but is allowed time to settle down, not so much time that it results in waterlogging, but just enough for it to permeate to the depths which it has to go to, and then the balance is gently drained away. The kind of contour bunding that we came across, which went under the generic term soil conservation, involved heavy loss of land, massive bunds, which certainly mounted up enormous bills of cost, under the mistaken belief that these were better proof against soil and water runoff. Our extensive work on this has, in our opinion, disproved once and for all the fact that the massive size of bunds is not conducive to soil and water management, to good soil and water management. In the gamut of technological inputs which go to make this technology, we assign a very, very high place to the vegetative bunding, which is based on cuss. We have had cuss in the state for many, many years. Much before any of these projects came up, we had cuss in Gundalpet. It was there in many parts of Karnataka, many tracts of Karnataka. And its uses have been known, but perhaps in the past, its importance for dryland farming may not have received that kind of focus.
But you see, nowhere else in the world, as far as we know, have we found a source of cuss being used as part of a farming system for such a long time. And this is a very important key factor in this technology, the knowledge of these people and why they've used this system for so long. And you see, one of the biggest questions on everybody's mind when you introduce a new system like this is, okay, it's a very good system, but how long does it last? You see? So if we can come down and we can find out from these farmers the answer to that question, how long does it last? And the other thing is, what problems does it have? How long has this cuss line been here?
15 years.
More than 15-20 years.
Since his father's period, he is telling. What he is telling is, he planted this about 35 years back. She asked the question, from where you got the planting material? Then the answer is, since the time of his grandfather, it's being used here.
He must have, in his 35 years, had a very heavy thunderstorm in this area. Very, very much rain came. What was the effect of that heavy rain on this cuss? Did it cause problems with surplusing water?
ಕೆಲವು ಸಲ ತಾಡಿಲಾರ್ದ ಜೋರ ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಹೌದಲ್ಲ, ಅಂತ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಏನ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಇದು ತಡಪ ನಿಂತಿರ್ತದೆ, ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಉಳ್ಳು ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ, ನೀರು ಕೊಚ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ.
So what he says is, even in big rains also, as this is there, this will take care of that, and the excess water will flow over this. That's what.
ತೆಳ್ಳಗೆ ಅಂಡ್ಕತ್ತದ, ತೆಳ್ಳಗೆ ಇದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಂಡ್ಕೊಂಡು,
ತೆಳ್ಳಗೆ ಅಂಡ್ಕಳ್ತ means it spreads smoothly and uniformly.
ಅಂಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈಚೆಗೊಳ್ಳು ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಇದು ಚೆನ್ನ ದನಗಳಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ಇದು.
He says this is very good for cattle.
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕೂ ಅನುಕೂಲ ನೋಡಿ ಇದು. ನೀರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಬಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಬಂದದನ್ನ ತಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮೇನ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ದನಗಳಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇದೆ.
He says this has got multi-purpose use. First and foremost thing is this acts like fodder. Number two, it won't allow this water to move out and retains the fertilizer that he applies in the field.
Right, correct.
That's what he said. That's why.
Now then, when he cuts it, how many times a month, or how often does he cut it? How many days?
15 days.
15 days.
Every 15
But right through the year?
ವರ್ಷ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಕುಯ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರಂಗ
ಅಲ್ಲ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೇಕು ಅಷ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ದನಗಳಿಗೆ
ಸರಿ 15 ದಿನಕ್ಕೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಇಡೀ ವರ್ಷ ಬೇಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಒಣಗಲ್ಲ
ಒಣಗಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಹೀಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ
he says throughout the year once in 15 days they cut this throughout the year
ಹೀಗೇನೆ ಯಾವಾಗ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇಕುತ್ತವೆ ಪುನಃ ಚಿಗುರುತ್ತೆ
ಇದು ಕಾಯಿಲೆ ಬರೋದು ಹಾಳಾಗೋದು
ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಹೀಗೇನೆ ಬೇಸಿಗೆ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲೂ ಹೀಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ
So I asked him a question, are there any diseases on this? He said no diseases, nothing. Even in summer it will be like this as you are seeing.
Even in the drought, the worst drought they've had.
ಈ ಬರಗಾಲ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಬರಗಾಲ ಬಂದಾಗ ಹೆಂಗೆ
ಬರಗಾಲ ಬರೋದು ಹೀಗೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ
ಹಸಿರಾಗೆ
ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಮಳೆಗಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತೆ ಆವಾಗ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ
He said scarcity time, you know, it remains green.
It's the only thing that remains green?
ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ಹಸಿರಾಗಿರೋದು ಬರಗಾಲ ಬಂದಾಗ
ಎಲ್ಲ ಹುಡುಗರು ಇನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಫ್ಲಾಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹುಡುಗರು
in scarcity time except this everything is dry. This remains green. ಬರಲ್ಲ
ಬರಲ್ಲ ಗರ್ಕ ಇದಿದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಇದನ್ನ ಬರ್ಸ್ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ
See, I asked him a question, do you witnessed any problem in the past 100 years? He said no, but he has come out with one more answer. This grass is called haryali. And this is a very important weed in agricultural lands. What he says is, whenever this grass is there, this grass won't allow this haryali
to get through it,
to come into the field. In Nanjangud area, that is Nanjangud Taluka, this has become popular and they won't ask for any finances also. Whenever they feel that the fund has to be created, they pull out a clump and then plant it. That's what he is telling.
They don't need any money. They don't need any help from government. They can carry this on while everything else is going on.
ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದಲ್ಲ ಇದು
ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಇದರಿಂದ ಈ ರೀತಿ ಇದಪ್ಪ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಇದೆ
ನೀವು ಹೇಳೋದು ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಲ್ಲ what he says is the message will spread better if he says it instead of me.
Yeah,
I agree with you. We put him on the films then.
Yeah,
put him on the television.
In this Nanjangud taluk, about 1,000 or so people have this grass, this ramanji. This, in my father and grandfather's time, was being cultivated. My father also grew this. I'm also growing this. In one land holding, there must be 2 lines of this ramanji. This has been here from the time I was so high. Even in my father's time it was here. Even in my grandfather's time. If we want to grow it elsewhere, we take half this line and we can put it elsewhere. We cut it and we can use it for fodder. This is good for land and good for fodder. When the rain comes, the soil stays here. Only the water goes through. When this is here, the soil is stopped here. Only the water goes through. On this side, it keeps piling up, the soil. This we have cut. The roots inside are very long. They grow so thick, there's no opportunity for rats to burrow inside. Rats can't cross under the earth from field to field. If you put a small root, in 1 year, it'll grow so much. It grows nicely. It won't die out. It won't dry out. It'll come even if it doesn't rain. If it rains, it'll come very well. This ramanji doesn't have seeds. You have to pluck this, put it in a straight line. Where you've planted it, there it'll grow. It won't spread too much. It'll just grow there. That's all. Evening 6 o'clock if we come. By 7 o'clock we can plant so much only in 1 day. We collect the planting material on one side, we make a straight line with the plow, put the planting material in it, and put the soil from the sides, and the work is done. We don't calculate how much work it is. We're satisfied with it. If the government wants to calculate coolie labor, that's up to them. We don't calculate it. We're satisfied. It's our land. If you give us 2 days, we'll finish it in just 1 day. Once you put it, there's no repair work. It'll always be there, and there's no expense. If it's necessary, one could make a bund. With this kind of slope, there's no need for a bund. Slowly, slowly, as it happens, this only has become fat. See on this side, land has gathered here. Slowly, slowly, this has formed by itself and become high. In a field, we make a bund. At the end of the bund, we make a waterway. The water from that end has to go all the way to the other end. If it goes, fine. But sometimes in the center, there's a break. When there's a break, there's erosion in the field. A ravine is formed and all the soil goes off through it. When you put this, what happens is all the water is stocked everywhere. The soil doesn't go through, water goes through, everywhere. Lots of it goes. Everywhere, there's no chance for it to go on only one side.
This is the vegetative system of soil conservation that we've been introducing with the rain-fed project. And here it is in Gundalpet. It's been here for the last 100 years. These farmers are using it very effectively. They've formed terraces here. This system costs nothing to install. It costs nothing to maintain. And this is the system that we hope to replace the expensive earth-bunded soil conservation system, which is costing India a fortune, and also costs India a fortune in maintenance. The grass, the vegetative system is natural. It's been here in Gundalpet and it's been working for the last 100 years. Nobody's quite sure. Some people think it's been here for 200 years. These lines, this line of cuss that's growing here has been actually planted by this farmer over 10 years ago. He's not quite sure how long it's been here, but he can control its width. You can see the terrace it's built up, and this costs nothing.
Nobody knows when this plant was introduced in this area. So, they have lost the antiquity of this plant altogether. There is a farmer who is about 90 years. He says his grandfather introduced this. So, which means it's about 125 to 200 years old. Number two, in survey manual, this place was surveyed in 1890. Here these people say in survey manual, they say putting stone bund is not required here because these people are using vetiver grass. Cuss grass as bund. You see, friends, this bund, to know the age of this bund, there are some farmers there who will interact with them.
ಅದೇನಾದ್ರು ಒಣಗ್ತದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಹಸಿರಾಗಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ?
ಅದನ್ನ ತ್ಯಾವದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗ ಒಣಗಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ತದೆ. ತ್ಯಾವದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳು ಮಳೆ ಹೋದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದು ಹಾಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಮಳೆ ಆದಾಗ
ನಮಗೆ ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಆ ಬುಕ್ಲೆಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Even though that much catchment is there, there will not be any rill formation throughout the plot. Correct. Water movement is there all the plot. Allinda rill formation agala. Adike if cuss bund is there, if it is in the contour, there will not be any damage on the downstream side. We need not think of water.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಈ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್
There is a scientist speaking. You must have met that Pandrange.
This is Bijapur district and coming under the Chandkote watershed. Since the last two and a half years, we have been trying this cuss planting on an extensive area, and so far we have not experienced any difficulty in planting this cuss. Nothing attacks it. So far, in the last 2.5 years, we have not seen any disease for this cuss planting. During the rainy season, we came here. We and our assistant conservator forest, we all came here and saw this. Water coming from upstream, slowly that will stop here. All the water, just like a plane, and the soil particles will settle down here, and the clean pure water that will go slowly. It will make the water to crawl, so that increases the capacity to percolate into the soil. Water percolation capacity will be more here. There is a lot of difference between the earthen bund and the cuss, vegetative cuss bunding. First of all, in the earthen bund, there is a lot of money involved, and the work is also more. But whereas in this vegetative bunding, expenditure is very less. So we are educating the farmers to take this cuss as a vegetative bunding on a bigger scale.
We are using only this cuss grass for preventing silt from getting into the tanks. Otherwise, once the silt gets to the tanks, the capacity is reduced. So what we can supply for 100 acres
once gets salted up, we may enter into a stage where you can't give even for 50 acres. Removal of silt is a very costly item, so prevent it. The quality of vetiver grass is, it is deep-rooted, and once it is deeply seated in the soil, it is very difficult to pull out, because it enables all the silt to be arrested at the tank and allow only the water into the tank. This is usually done at the tank FTL, where water is always available for more than 3 to 4 months in a year. Cuss grass is always planted at a distance of 15 to 20 centimeters apart, and this again at an interval of 1 meter quarter interval is planted to arrest more effectively the silt that is coming from the catchment area of the minor irrigation tanks. What otherwise would have served for 50 years, with the introduction of cuss, it may serve for 100 years. So that is the benefit.
There have been misgivings about vegetative bunding expressed by people who should know better. But we feel that the stage has come when we can assert that whoever says that vegetative bunding does not have a place in Indian agriculture across the length and breadth of the country is a person who is saying it without having had even a cursory look at the Karnataka experience. I would invite them to see for themselves, and I would invite those in the government of India who support the former view to come and see that a lot of money that is being wasted and drained away is saved for the country and saved for the farmer, because finally he has to pay for it.